Alright, guys. It is 6 o'clock, so it is time for the live stream digital painting demo. My name is Eben Schumacher, and if you haven't joined us before, I'm an artist, freelance artist, and I do a lot of digital art, fantasy, sci-fi scenes, characters, environments, that kind of stuff. So today I'm going to be going through a little demo of I'm going to try to create a scene with something that has a bit more action in it. A lot of my scenes tend to be fairly still, and I'm actually just going to try to push my boundaries a little bit in this piece. So yeah, I'm definitely not the expert in doing so and creating those kinds of action scenes, but I'm just gonna hop on here and see what happens. So alright, let's just create a new layer here, and let's just start creating some motion, see if we can come up with a good idea here. Just want to start out with some I don't know, some interesting strokes here, some things that kind of already at the beginning are giving us a sense of motion. Get some color variety, just some interesting patterns going on here. Almost just like the waves in the ocean. I chose a bit of a wider canvas here than I usually do, and I think that'll just help to give this piece a bit more space to breathe here. Let's switch up the brush. Find something that will give us some good, interesting dynamics here. And some good texture. Thinking about mostly just thinking about composition at this point. And what did I do here? There we go. Thinking about having this kind of focal center here in the right side. Hi there, Viera, and hello, Danny. Nice to see you guys here, and welcome. Feel free to hop in and out at your leisure. Not doing anything too crazy today. Just trying to create some motion, bit of action here, some interesting dynamics. And just trying to build up the texture as we do that in whatever ways we can. Start introducing some other colors here. Maybe these are a couple of these I'm using are from the Marco Bucci pack. A lot of great textural stuff in there. This is just kind of a fun, random triangle generator thing. This is kind of closer to my usual method than I have been doing recently. It's a bit more freeform. I really don't know what exactly I'm going to make here. And that's kind of the fun of it. Just creating some larger shapes and then maybe some smaller ones towards the focal point here. Switch up our highlight color. And I just want to start filling in some of this white we've got around here, so thinking maybe we're looking down from some great height here. Not sure at what or in what way exactly yet, but we can always just figure that out as we go. Got a lot of earth tones going on here. This is looking like a bit of a naturalistic scene. Nice to see a new face here joining us from the on the stream here, aside from the usual regulars I get here. It's a small but loyal group. Oh yeah, I'm starting to see some potential for a bit of speckled light here. This can be kind of a forest scene with some interesting perspective things. Yes, I also am curious about how it will turn out. I hope it turns out good. But I guess we won't know until it's done. But I'm liking the mood I have here so far. I think it's got some good motion. Some interesting light coming down here. Maybe we can darken up some of these borders. Add a bit more color. Whoops. That was a bit overkill. So the kind of I keep forgetting I have these. I haven't messed with the Greg Rutkowski brushes in a minute, so I'm gonna dip back into those. I still don't really even know what a lot of these do, but we're just gonna. I like this one. Sort of streaky Nice texture. What else we got here? This, oh, that's kind of interesting. Starting to see the potential for a scene here, and I think I know what's gonna happen. So I'm actually just gonna pop this on a new layer just in case I change my mind here, but I want there to be sort of some kind of diving figure here. Just jumping into the abyss, or the light, or whatever it is that's going on down there. I'm just kind of cueing in that gesture and sort of looking a bit bird-like right now, which is pretty cool. Oops. Okay, probably darken that up a bit to help it stand out. And I don't know, I think that's enough for me to just remember what's going on there, or what's supposed to go on there. Let's start bringing in some other colors here. Create some choppiness with this texture. Always keeping an eye on the navigator up there, just as if I were steering a boat. Let's bring in some nice blues. I'm just gonna keep exaggerating this curve here. Starting to think that this is a river of some kind. Oh, that's interesting. Some nice texture. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. Use some of that over here. I'm gonna start thinking about how I can how I can sort of funnel all the focus down here. Use some perspective maybe to sort of direct the eye down along this area. Maybe there's some other moving parts happening here. Some circular things. Let's flip that, see if we can get... Oh yeah. Yeah, I really like this. Let's return to this dry brush here. Create a little more contrast at the bottom where it almost looks like there's a pool and maybe a little beach down here that we're seeing from above. Couple little rocks down here. I'm getting pretty detailed already, but I can always go over this later. Oh, all right. I'll see you later, Danny. Thanks for joining us. The digital Bob Ross. Well, that's, I don't know if I can live up to that, but I appreciate it. Just going to create a bit more color down here. Some highlights where the light is hitting this beach, and then we want to tone this down in the shadow area. Have some darker steam kind of things happening here. There a bit of a shadow down here. Might be a bit too pronounced, because there's gonna be some misty things happening too, so, and that's gonna be catching a lot of the light down here. It's not gonna be a super shadow, but maybe it'll even be lighter than that. I might pull up a reference photo at some point for this, because I've never really attempted to paint anything like this. The bottom of the waterfall from this angle. I'm having a bit of trouble imagining it, but I think the framework is there. like the spatter brush. It's always fun. Create some interesting things happening around here. And then I think I'm gonna go back to the leafy mode here and try to paint in some tree shadows down here along this beach. Just gonna kind of outline the edge of this this water here. Create some ripples. And then as that moves into the shadow, those ripples will look a bit more blue. Or so I believe. Could always be wrong. In any case, I'm just gonna try to establish some things down here. Make it look like there's some fun leafy things and rock things going on. Maybe even take a pencil. Start drawing in some little outlines of things here. I'm doing what I often do, which is getting into detail too fast, but I just kind of want to set the scene for this beach down here. Oh, this is a fun one. I don't use this often. Sort of a mock watercolor kind of thing. Maybe put a few rocks down here. Where sort of circling around the water here. I don't know. Definitely, I feel like I say that just about 100 times during every stream, but yeah, it's pretty true. I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but Sometimes, if I'm lucky, I will give the impression that I do. That's always fun. Okay, cool. We got some nice details happening down along this beach. Maybe some little specks where the rocks are, or the hermit crabs, or whatever we got going down here. Well, I'm glad it's looking good there, Vieira. I think I like it. I think I like it pretty well myself. Kind of missed out that rock there. Create a bit more misty things at the bottom. Up the brightness a little bit maybe, or so let's change the blueness there in the shadow. I want that to be a bit more blue. Okay. Cool. So that's our destination. You can always put some more stuff down there later, but I'm gonna start moving on to developing some other areas here. Make sure everyone's caught up. This looks like it could be a tree root or something. So let's roll with that idea. What I like to do with pieces like this, when I don't really know exactly what's gonna happen, is just start putting myself in that place, trying to explore it mentally a bit. Think of what I might encounter. If I were to dive down here myself. Some more grays over here. It'll help give a little warmth to this sort of vague area. And let's bring out this Mr. Leafy again, because this is a lot of fun. Just for places where you don't really need to be too specific with your details. Maybe there will be, just to create some variety here, let's have some cliffs. Something like that. We'll have those coming down sort of along with this perspective line here. Some rocky things. Some nice solid lines. Some cracks along them. Just sort of sticking out here. And they're going to be a bit more blue where the sunlight isn't hitting them right on. I'll just kind of wind down the edge of that cliff there. And maybe let's continue that over here. Maybe they'll be cast in shadow. And we'll have some greenery and stuff on them. You know what? This could be an opportunity for another waterfall here. So let's see how that looks. Maybe another little one over here. Just a bit more blue in it, where it's in shadow. And just kind of block that off. This rock sort of overlapping. It's good to show overlapping whenever possible. Helps to reinforce the 3D space. Change these a bit so it looks like we're just sort of looking at the top of them, looking down. Yeah, this is kind of nice. Very peaceful. But I mean, peaceful scene with a bit of action dynamics as well. Just sort of extending the water out a bit too here to accommodate these fun new waterfalls. Okay. And then as we move up into the forest, it's going to take on more of the ambient light. Maybe some more vegetation, that kind of stuff. Oh yes, thanks for joining, Vera, and yeah, please feel free to check out the video later, and have a good night. All right. Yes, I'm pretty excited to see this one as well. I think it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, just trying to keep pushing pushing more color into this area down here, especially in those shadows. Help them stand out against everything else that's going on here. Maybe I don't want to have that much of a highlight over there. It's sort of a non-focal area, as I like to call them. It's not the most elegant term, but gets the meaning across. Cool, yeah, maybe we can have some little splutters here. Hey there, Shalandra. Nice to see you here. I'm not totally sure what I'm making here yet today, but I'm liking how it's turning out so far. I'm basically just trying to create a scene with some action in it. A little movement dynamic, and that was pretty much my starting goal here. I started with some very loose indications of motion with some broad textural brush strokes, and from there kind of started to figure out what my perspective was, and how I wanted to incorporate action. This second layer here is just a sort of a placeholder for, I think I'm going to put in some kind of character or figure there, diving out towards this pool. And I think I would like this area better if it were pointing a little bit more clearly towards the focal area. So I'm just gonna adjust that a little bit. Yeah, I think I like that better. Let's bring out this mixer brush. See what we can do with that. I guess my tree roots have kind of. Oh, that's kind of a cool idea. Yes. Well, that's good, because that's what I'm hoping it's going to turn out to be as well. I'm glad that's coming across at this point. Yeah, kids are really good at coming up with ideas. I've been thinking about. I think there are some artists that they'll take like children's drawings and that kind of stuff, and they'll kind of remake it with their their adult skill set and make them look really cool. I always thought that was pretty neat. I think it'd be cool to go back to some of the drawings I made as a kid and try to redo those, in my current style. Not sure. I'm kind of getting lost in this waterfall here. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Maybe you can use some of that same action over here. Oh yeah, maybe I'll have these waterfalls often have little bits of rock at the end where the water is sort of pouring around them. See if I can get that effect here. I still haven't quite figured out the mixer brush settings, so bear with me while I figure out what the right strokes to use here are. But that looks pretty good. I kind of like that blue right at the edge, where it's starting to pick up some of that light, but it's not hitting it quite directly. It's also reflecting some of the sky. I'm kind of just sort of reinforcing this top-down view here. I want this to look like, you know, we're looking directly down at this stream. So maybe we'll have some more rocks and things. Maybe not right there. Things that this is moving around. I should really figure out what all these different mixer brush settings are, but I'm actually just gonna switch back to my regular brush because I'm gonna get lost trying to do that. Have some sort of brighter areas where the river is going around the rock here. Some little misty, foamy things happening here. And then I'm just gonna start doing some detailing here along the edge of the shore. This isn't a super important area, but it's nice just to get lost in the details sometimes. I got a lot of fruit flies hanging around right now, and I don't know why, but they really like to hover around my face while I'm trying to talk into a microphone. Maybe they think I'm a piece of fruit. I'm not sure what it is, but if you hear me blowing on something, that's what that is. Alright, I'm getting a little too wrapped up in these rocks here. Just gonna get a little more fast and loose with them. Sometimes you gotta change up your pace to keep the piece moving, you know? I was watching a video on that a while ago. I can't remember who, some artist I hadn't seen before on YouTube. He was talking about pacing your work, which I thought was really interesting. I hadn't really thought about. Hadn't really thought about it in that way before, you know. But he didn't go into too much detail as to, you know, how exactly you want to go about doing that, but I have, you know, since I watched that, I've been thinking about, you know, how I go about pacing myself as I go and how I work at different speeds, and that's kind of interesting. Just inject some more color around here. Maybe some darker blues where this is in a bit of shadow. Oh, that's kind of interesting. It's a rake brush effect here. I'm just sort of going over a lot of that stuff I just did, because I don't think it really helped the piece at all. I also don't want to overdo these highlights, but I do want them to be present and clear. Yeah, I really like this brush. It's really good for this kind of stuff. Not sure why. It's a bit dark, isn't it? Oh boy. Yeah, do what you must. So we're just trying to find the right value for these rocks here. Sometimes it takes a bit of experimentation. All right, let's go back into these. I'm imagining some nice little mossy areas here, so let's just start detailing those in. On the rocks too, I imagine they would have some mossy things going on. I don't know, that's all a bit crazy, but I'll probably go back down here and lose a lot of these edges anyway. But I'm just gonna keep switching up the color a bit. Maybe I'll start I'll go down here and start to do a bit of drawing. Where's my, I think it's this one. Yeah, it's a bit intense. Just gonna start sort of mapping out some possible rock structures here. That's what I love about digital painting here, is you can really sort of easily switch between drawing and painting mode, you know. Really bright light on the waterfall. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm going with this. And they're going to be sort of highlighted by that light as well. I'm just doing a bit of drawing here. Seeing how this is all gonna come together up here. Creating some clear shadow shapes as well. And just creating a lot of perspective lines here too. With every stroke I make, I want to be reinforcing the form of the rocks as well. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe even have some more blue greens in there, where the skylight is reflecting off of these rock things here. That's probably a bit too dark, but we can just sort of chop it out of there. See if we can find a nice middle ground between those two values. That's kind of cool. A bit more towards the red. Bring out the super chop, as I like to call it. Not sure what was originally called, but maybe we can use our looper here, our lasso tool. I don't know why I call it that. And take a soft brush, just create a bit of clarity. between these, some contrast between these spaces here. A little bit of mistiness. I also want to correct the shape here. Change the direction of this waterfall a bit. Maybe that can even come around like that. That's kind of cool. My favorite brush. I have no idea. I've been really liking all these Greg Rutkowski brushes here. They're kind of close to what you might expect from actual oil paint. But I don't know, my preferences change all the time. You know, just depends upon where I am in my own development and what kind of mood I'm in at the time. Let's come back to this. I guess, if anything, I like to use brushes that sort of push me out of my comfort zone a little bit. That can really, you can almost just sort of surprise yourself into making something new when you do that. I think all of this could use a bit of saturation boost. And, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Just a little bit. Maybe a bit of a color balance. Something like that. Yeah, I had a tree root, something like that over here earlier. I want to see if I can get that back. Get a little more specific with some of these shapes here. That can even come around here as well. Sort of just wrapping around this whole rock. maybe it's about time we start working on our figure here. Sort of leaving them behind just a bit. Yeah, I really like working with Procreate as well. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good way to stream that. Whoa, that's pretty intense. Yeah, I can make. I was thinking about making some tutorials for that, or just. I mean, I do some time lapse videos. For Procreate, but I don't. Yeah, I can't really do a live stream with that, unfortunately. I've tried a couple different ways. Doesn't really work that well. All right, let's start giving this thing. Let's use my building brush, so we can really be confident in our blocking here. Yeah, the time lapses are pretty cool. It's always interesting to kind of stop what you're doing and look back at where you've come from and sort of get some perspective on what you're doing there. That's kind of cool. Yeah, yeah. I used to watch a lot of time lapse videos from people on Procreate. There, I think it's JJ Canvas does a lot of good ones like that. Um, Maybe Jordan Grimmer. I can't remember, but yeah, it's really cool. I mean, sometimes it'll be sped up to 5 to 30 times speed, so it's a little hard to follow everything they're doing, but definitely to see like the overall process, it's pretty cool. Cool. I think that's pretty neat. Um, Maybe I want to have. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Might just sort of leave this sort of a bit of a freeform stage here. Sort of lose some of these edges. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I think I pretty much switch up the brush here. I think I have a good idea of what it is I'm making here. It's just a matter of yeah. No, that's fine. Feel free to type away. I'm just looking for an excuse to make some more work, really. Yes, a woman-like figure. Nailed it. Yeah. I think it would be really cool if this was some kind of I don't know, some kind of a forest spirit or something. She's just kind of emerging out of the water here. Harpy, yeah. Yeah, kind of a similar idea. Hey Nadim, welcome here, and I'm glad you're appreciating the YouTube videos. I definitely have a lot of fun making these, so I'm glad to hear you're enjoying them as well. Should probably add a bit more detail over here just to balance things out. Go back to this this choppy brush here. I love this one. It's just sometimes the randomness can really help you out. Almost looks like some kind of plant. A little more of that over here. Why not? Contrasts nicely with this, the smoothness of the water. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a quite an introspective stream. I'm just getting getting pretty lost in in this scene, which is just great. But yeah, feel free to pipe up if you have any questions or thoughts or suggestions or anything, and otherwise I'm just gonna keep on moving with this. I've realized I'm still painting on that third layer I created, and I think I'm pretty okay with that. There's usually a point at which I will sort of merge the whole thing together anyway, so I try not to overcomplicate it with too many layers, as I've said. Yeah, it's kind of I think it's kind of a cool perspective, I try to push that as often as I can. Just keep pushing the perspective into places I'm not totally comfortable with. Just helps to sort of. Sometimes it's you can make your best work when you sort of throw yourself off guard like that. Alright, this woman needs some color. Where's my color at? I'm actually just going to let's select this layer, see what comes up. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Selection. I don't want to paint with all those things on there, so I'm actually just going to lock this layer. And we're just going to go in and... Oh yeah, I love that reflected light off of the water there. It's really nice. Just going to kind of paint in some skin tones here. That'll be more towards the violet, where it's in shadow. And maybe a little bit of a blue reflection from the sky. Go even bluer than that. Essentially got a few different lighting things going on here. It's gonna make for a pretty interesting character here. Then I'm going to think about where there are going to be shadows on this form. And just increase those a little bit. Maybe underneath the hair here. Alright, so now I've got some colors here. I'm going to unlock that. And just start sculpting this a little bit. A bit of highlight here where the light might be striking there. And maybe another one sort of defining where the sky might be reflected. And even up here right next to the highlight, wherever that direct light isn't hitting it, it's still going to be reflecting the sky a little bit. So we're going to cue in a bit of that blue. And probably just smooth it out a little bit. And create some of that subsurface scattering here, just a little bit, wherever the light is hitting the skin. Just going to be a bit of red around the edges where the light is sort of passing through. You won't see it too much at this scale, but it'll be a nice effect. Bring that blue reflected light from the sky. Just create some highlights over that wing there. Zora, huh? That's kind of cool. I can get down with that. I think the color's just a little bit off here. This is just going to be a 40-minute tutorial on drawing butts. No, it is. It's not. But I am gonna. It's kind of a key transition area between the light and the shadow area here, so I just want to make sure the lighting is right. Make sure it's reading well. Perfect. Okay. Even have a little of that light hitting her back here. Maybe even glancing the tops of her shoulders. Maybe not. I think overall this needs to be darkened. So I'm just gonna go in with a brush on multiply. We'll just see if we can darken this whole thing up here. That's a bit too, I'm probably adding a bit too much texture here. Let's try with a soft brush. Let's give it a bit of blue too. That'll help to reinforce some of these shadow areas. Maybe go in with the linear dodge mode a bit and sort of play up some of the lighting around here. That's kind of convincing. Okay. Now a little bit of more reflected light. I'm kind of just, I'm trying to define the figure by using these various light sources. Not so much by drawing it all out or anything. But maybe that's a bit overkill. I don't want to create too much contrast everywhere. Just dialing it back. Start to map out some of the anatomical things you might have here. A little divot along the spine. maybe go in and sort of refine this. I think that was supposed to be the chin when I made it. Not sure if that's really needed. It is. I think this arm is a bit thick. Just go in here, try to smooth this out a bit. Create some interesting brush strokes and stuff. Reinforce that reflected light a bit. And that's actually gonna, might hit a little bit here too. Yeah. And then, you know, the fun part is all of these. Maybe do a little bit of an ear here or something. Her face is kind of obscured a bit. But just want to give enough information to show where she's looking. It's actually, her ear's going to be a bit more forward than that because she's looking forward more. And then from there, just fun hair stuff. Get to kind of just, we got some brushes for that, I'm sure. Stuff like this. Switch up the color a bit. Use a bit of smoothing. That's a bit much. You don't like drawing hair, huh? Oh, I find it very, I think it's a lot of fun. It's just kind of, you can get real free form with it. Doesn't have to be too, I guess, I don't know, personally I don't feel like I have to think about it too much, but everyone's different, you know. Using the smooth tool to, I'm not sure what I'm doing here really, actually. It's starting to look a bit weird. So maybe I'll just sort of dial that back a bit. Let's find a different brush that's gonna work a bit better for us. Oh, I know some of these will be really good for this. And I just saw this purple here actually, but it's almost like this bit of highlight down here is, I can draw that out a bit more. It's almost like this bit of highlight is bouncing up underneath the hair and giving it a bit more color. So I'm going to keep pushing that effect just a little bit. Not quite that much, but I like that color, so I'm actually just gonna Just gonna sort of paint it in where I want to see it, really. Oh yeah, hey, that Gimli image turned out really nice. I know you were working very hard on that, and definitely shows, I think. Sometimes it's tough to do photo studies like that, and because you're working with a lot of different materials, you have to figure out how to render the texture of the metal and everything. So well done. That was nice. Yeah, you nailed that metal. I'm just kind of trying to find ways to bump up the color even more here. They're not even it's not even realistic per se. And I mean I don't want to go too far with it. I think maybe that looks almost a bit bloody or something, I don't know, but if you smooth it out enough and kind of blends in a bit. I probably don't need to put any light on that hair. But I'm probably gonna... What can we do here? We'll work on these wings a little bit. Yeah. It's good. I mean, yeah, you have to always kind of find a balance between staying in your comfort zone and pushing it. I think Wallet had a really nice post today about if you lose motivation, returning back to your comfort zone, and I think that's a really good point. But I guess if you need inspiration, it's good to push it too. See if we can make these wings with some nice simple strokes here. Just have to get the right looks pretty cool. Even dial those back a bit. Maybe have some spots where it's showing through. Sculpt the edges. Whoa. Just sort of carving some feathery shapes out of this negative space here, or this the residual strokes from earlier that weren't quite as defined. I don't even really need to clearly define all of this too much. It's sort of well implied that they are what they are, you know. Maybe we can even have some light sort of glancing off these wings here. Let's grab that soft brush again, and I've locked the layer. Let's just see if we can see if that'll look cool. Maybe not that quite intense of a red. This. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Can maybe even try the same thing over here. Making a portfolio for professional work. It's a great question. And I would say I mean, you want it to be you want to have a few things. You want to have a good volume of work. And you want that work to be cohesive and also, you know, well made. You want to show a solid degree of skill, and you want to show that you have basically demonstrated that skill consistently over time. So, and that's, you know, it's a constant process, you know, but basically you just want to keep sorry, my focus is kind of divided, but just keep making work every day and see if you can figure out how it all fits together, figure out kind of what the theme is, and sort of what you are bringing to the table as an artist. And you know, presentation is pretty key. You want to only put your best works up there. You don't want to put you know, your practice sketches or your studies or things like that. You want to be doing those things, but those aren't necessarily those aren't things you want to put on your portfolio. Trent Kaniuga, I think that's how you pronounce it. He has a really good video on that. Actually, I strongly recommend you check it out. I've posted some of his videos on the group before, and you know, he used to work at Blizzard, and now he has his own art house, which, basically means he's a company that does freelance concept work, like high-end stuff for video games and stuff like that. So he's definitely a good voice to listen to. And I wouldn't take it from me so much because I'm, still relatively an amateur. But yeah, check out what he has to say on it. And whatever it is I just said too. I'm just trying to make this light look a bit more interesting, a bit less contrived, I guess. But I'm really liking how all of this is looking right now. I think there's a lot of nice color interest around that figure now, and we could even later on add some cool blur effects to create even more of that motion. But for now, I'm just going to try to sort of wrap up some of these other sort of side details that are still a little bit undeveloped. Yeah, I like how that vegetation is looking as well. I'm actually gonna, while this is still locked, I'm just gonna sharpen up these wingtips a little bit. Just help this to stand out a bit more. Yeah, okay. So let's just, I'm gonna return to this beach that we set up earlier and see if I can just have this pop out a little bit more. Add a bit more interest, a bit more contrast. I'm adding in some highlights down there. Really show that the light is making it down to this area. And then underneath that, it's going to get a bit shadowy where let's shift that more towards the blue to reinforce the distance here. Create some of these bluish shadow areas where the trees are blocking out the light. I'm just gonna try sculpting this a little bit. Maybe I'll switch to more of a foliage brush here. And then I also want to have some things that are leading from the top down. So maybe let's try this. Let's create some more cliffs over here that are just bringing our eyes right down into this pit here. And use some more of that highlight. A little more of the red. Maybe a bit of the sky blue, where that's being blocked out by shadows. And then we can just go in with our drawing brush and just sort of give these a bit of definition. Not too much contrast or anything, but just enough to tell people what it is. Or at least give some kind of vague suggestion of what it is. I have a habit of making these kind of staggery cliff kind of objects. It's a lot of fun to me, especially from this perspective. Bit of a shadow over there. I'm just kind of sculpting the landscape here. You have some diagonals thrown in there just for some variety. Have some kind of crevice going on back here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then maybe some areas with the light's hitting. I don't know, maybe that's a bit too intense. I think it's all pretty messy. Let's see if I can backtrack a bit. Yeah, I don't want to create too much contrast or interest or anything around here. Just sort of a general indication of form. Oh yeah, and I wanted another one right here. Sort of a cliff thing. And maybe around here as well. Switch up our brush. Sort of create some shadow areas around here. And then down at the base there too. Maybe there can be, let's zoom in a bit, maybe we can have something of a doorway. Or temple or something. I mean, maybe that's overkill, but we'll find out. That's gonna be a bit more foreshortened, actually. I don't know. Maybe that's yes. I think that would be a cool idea for something else, but I want to keep this simple. So let's just work our way back here. Besides, it's about time I wrap this thing up for the night. So we're just gonna try to get this area to a point where it looks okay, or at least it's kind of clear, maybe what it is, or I don't know. It's sometimes hard to tell when a piece is finished. I might continue working on this one at another time because I really like the concept and everything. But for now, let's just create a bit of fun. See what this will do. Not crazy about that. Let's just create some more foliage stuff around the edges. Give it a bit of interest. Some more greenery around here. Down there along the beach. Some nice, strong highlight, high contrast colors here. And then maybe some more cool bluish ones around in the shadow area. And then maybe we'll just go up here and sort of just smooth out this area here, give it a bit less contrast. And then dial up the fog a bit, where all this is coming together. I think her wing kind of ended up getting in the way of this this pool down here, but I'm not too concerned about it. Just gonna sort of create a bit more, some more details around there. Maybe some more rocks, stuff like that. There was a bigger rock down here at one point. I don't remember what happened to it. Let's knock down the opacity a little bit. create some sort of impressions of cliffs and other little things down here that we might be seeing. Switch up that color a bit. Nice. And then this area back here I think is just bugging me a bit, so I'm just gonna sort of blot it out a little bit. All these areas where there's or it's sort of blurry, you know. Do a little bit of that here. We can even do some of that with our highlight area. Some of that blotting. Switch it. And then, yeah, I think also by up here, where this waterfall starts, switch to multiply. And let's just darken it a little bit with this blue. Maybe we'll just use a regular brush here. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It's creating some cool contrast there. And then I'm gonna switch to this smudge again, and if I can here. Oh, that's on another layer. That's why. This is me really biting myself for. Just gonna copy paste that as a backup, but then I'm just gonna merge these down, and we're just gonna take our what do we call this? Smoothing brush here. Actually, I want to use a mixer. Just sort of give this a bit of motion. You know, that kind of effect when someone takes a picture of a waterfall at a really high, or I can't remember the technical term with the camera, but low shutter speed. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, and we can even do a little bit of speckled light here along the water. Yeah. And also back here. Be nice to just have some speckling. I'm actually going to use the brush on linear dodge for that. Just do a bit of speckling. Whoops, still on linear dodge. Let's create a bit more of this fun mossy stuff. And I think we're looking pretty good here. I'm definitely ready to put this on pause for a minute, or a day or two. But let's see, a couple more things I want to address here. I keep telling myself I'm going to finish this, and I see something else. I just want to reinforce some of these perspective lines, that kind of thing. Hope this. Okay. So, and then there was one more thing I was going to do, which is see if we can add a bit of a motion blur effect here. So, let's try what can we do for that? Oh, I know. We have this separate layer here actually, so let's go to blur, motion blur, angle it like that. That's kind of cool. Maybe not quite that much. We can actually do this and then sort of dial it back by masking it wherever we need to. So let's do that, and then create a mask, and then switch to the brush, and just sort of paint back in some of the details we lost here. But maybe it looks cooler the other way. Hard to say. But we'll leave it like that for now. Maybe we can let's copy and paste this layer, and we can do a radial blur, something like that. This doesn't have a preview option, but let's see how that looks. Whoa, that's pretty cool actually. If I can move the target up just a bit to our focal area there, let's see how that looks. Still a bit out of focus. Let's try that again. Blur, blur. Move it up. Let's use the draft mode for now. And once more. Move it over a little bit. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is the only method I have so far. Yeah, that's pretty close. Oops. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I'm just going to mask this actually and just dial that back in certain areas. Like around here, I want that to be pretty clear. And some of these, maybe not. Looks pretty cool. And then let's let's group these, duplicate that group, merge them, and then we can do a bit of tweaking here. Increase our contrast. And do a bit of color balance. I think these highlights are looking a bit cool. So let's bump those up. It's pretty awesome. And that might be all we need to do. Let's take a look at our shadows again. Whoa. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, give those a bit more like that. We can bump our midtones towards the red a bit more as well. Highlights. Well, I think that's gonna be it. I think that looks pretty cool. I may have overdone it with the blurring a bit, but you know, like my intent was to create an action piece, and this definitely feels like it has a lot of movement, a lot of action. I almost wonder if there should be some kind of target or something down here. I wonder why these strokes didn't get blurred out. Maybe that was on a separate layer or something. Yeah. What did I do here? I don't know. I'll figure this all out later. But yeah, I think that'll be it for tonight. And yeah, Shalandra, if you want more info on that, check out the last stream I did. I talk about that a little bit, about how I got my first gigs and doing book cover art and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, thank you for joining me here and asking some great questions, and thank you to everyone who has joined me for this stream. And yeah, I hope to catch y'all again soon, and I'll be doing this again next Sunday, so keep an eye out for announcements there. And if you haven't jumped on the email list for things like this, you can go ahead and do so at my website that's listed in the description. And you can, once you subscribe there, you actually get a free digital art pack, which is kind of cool, and then you get updates for events like this. So yeah, that'll be it for me tonight, but thank you for joining me, and have a good one.